Just like Vermintide before it, Darktide is not a game about the most powerful characters in the setting. As a prisoner of the Inquisition, you and 1,000 other rejects are co-opted into the thankless task of liberating Hive Tertium from some blighted blasphemers. You're not dropping into Tertium as a ceramite-clad space marine to deliver fire and fury to the heretics. All you've got is a jumpsuit and some hand-me-down lasgun. Darktide is really just a game about how much it sucks to be a human in Warhammer 40k, and after endless space marine power fantasies, it's something that I can't help but love it for.
Zola, we're gonna need more rejects.
That's not to say Darktide doesn't make you feel powerful, but it's a kind of measured power. Since Darktide has been in pre-order beta since November 17th, the process of reviewing it is a little tricky. In playing a character to max rank, I had concerns in terms of progression, and that there isn't really an endgame right now as long as the crafting system isn't fully implemented. With that in mind, I'm going to max level a character now the game is out in order to see how the experience has changed. So keep an eye on the review in progress on the site. As it stands, Darktide feels more like a prologue or a first chapter right now, introducing you to the Hive and the not-so-friendly faces of Rannick's inquisitorial band. I love Tertium itself, how claustrophobic corridors open into vast gothic halls, or how each zone has its own sense of identity and backstory. Though it makes me sad that there aren't any Hive-based characters, since Tertium is still inhabited. One thing Darktide is sorely lacking right now is a tangible antagonist, or even some inkling about what the heretics are planning on Atoma Prime. For those familiar with Vermintide 2's skull-splitting melee antics, Darktide will feel like chatting with an old friend, until that friend pulls out a lasgun and vaporizes your face. As you happily slaughter your way through Tertium's cramped corridors and gloomy halls with an array of 40k weapons, you'll eventually come face to face with a squad of heretic troopers, armed with guns. They'll be just beyond your smacking range, and as you try to close the distance and get shot up, you'll realize this isn't Vermintide. Another significant departure is that Darktide lets you make your own character, crafting a backstory and fashioning their fearsome countenance, as well as their personality and voice, which is what stands as substitute for Vermintide's much-loved banter.
Praise the bloody Emperor and get out of there! You know what we need? Rattling snipers! Best marksman in the guard!
Very tiny, though. Fit in pockets.
Thieving sewer rats, the lot of them. Good thieves, mind. Kinds you can count on.
I genuinely expected the full introduction of hybrid combat to feel broken at first, but Fat Shark has done an amazing job. The core of Vermintide 2 is there in terms of combat and how good the weapons feel. Revving my chainsword to bisect an enemy champion is exactly the kind of 40k experience I was craving, but with so many more variables in terms of ranged threats, special enemies, and the tools you have to deal with them, it can't help but feel like a more comprehensive experience than Vermintide. Fast and fluid as you move point to point, threat to threat. Classes also feel like they have defined strengths, and the introduction of the buffs and shield regen that you get in close proximity to your squad are a welcome incentive for team-based play in match-made missions. The only concern I have right now is how unstable Darktide has proven to be in the pre-order beta in terms of crashes. Will Fat Shark be able to establish that stability with the launch patch, or is it potentially going to delay the introduction of other much-needed features? Darktide is every bit the successor to Vermintide 2 that I wanted in terms of how its combat and gameplay feels, but having hit level 30, I know I'm struggling to find many reasons to keep going beyond the odd mission. Hopefully the launch will add even more. The pre-order beta has left a lot of unknowns hanging in the balance in terms of progression and endgame, but the quality of Darktide's combat is one thing I can say I'm already sure of. I stuck with Vermintide 2 all these years because of how the fighting felt, and Darktide feels the same. If, like me, that was enough of a reason to play, then Darktide will surely scratch that itch.